put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning, viewers, and welcome to the Tobago Updates morning show, coming to you here live from the Port Mall in Scarborough, Tobago. As we continue to give God thanks for life, I am Julian Skeet.
And I am Natalia Nancis. Good morning, Julian. Good morning to all of you viewers joining us this morning while you have your cup of tea, your cup of Milo milk, and these type of things, your breakfast and everything. Good morning to you all, and thank you for choosing Tobago Updates to view this morning.
Good morning indeed. We're happy to welcome each and every one of you. Continue to connect with us here at the Tobago Updates morning show. Yes, folks, it is Thursday, the 2nd of May. And if you know Julian Skeet any at all, May is indeed a marvelous month, a month for which we must give thanks. And, for fear of going on for people to say that I am preaching indeed, May is my birthday month, so you'll kindly forgive me. Indeed, it's the kind of month that you celebrate. And I can see all the Mayborns and Geminis out there singing praises this morning.
You think they're joining you this morning?
Indeed. Before there's any upset in studio, let's head on over to News in 90 Seconds.
News in 90 Seconds is brought to you by Standards, never beaten on quality and prices.
Thank you, Julian and Natalia. Here's your news in 90 seconds for Thursday, May 2nd, 2024. The Division of Food Security, Natural Resources, the Environment and Sustainable Development has condemned the indiscriminate killing of sharks following the recent bull shark attack at British tourist Peter Smith. This condemnation comes in response to a video circulating on social media depicting fishermen cutting up bull sharks on the Boko Jetty in Tobago. The division, in a statement issued, emphasized the crucial role that sharks play in maintaining the balance of the marine ecosystems. While acknowledging the concerns and fears stemming from the recent incident, the division cautioned against reacting by indiscriminately killing sharks, citing it is not only ineffective but preventing future incidents, but also detrimental to marine biodiversity. The Office of the Deputy Chief Secretary will now be integrated into the Office of Chief Secretary, as announced in a media release yesterday. The release highlighted that the functions previously carried out by the Office of the Deputy Chief Secretary executed under 5 main departments such as the Intergovernmental Relations Department, Diaspora Relations Department, Foreign Direct Investment Department, Policy Monitoring and Evaluation Secretariat, and the Energy Bureau will now report directly to the Chief Administrator. And finally, the Division of Education, Research and Technology has established a 12-member committee to develop a curriculum tailored to Tobago's unique cultural identity while fostering global competencies. Education Secretary Zarisha Hackett revealed that the curriculum will roll out in preschool, primary schools and secondary schools starting September 2025. In a media release from the division, committee members were appointed following an open nomination process. Hackett stated that the committee, having convened twice, chaired by the division's technical advisor, and second, focal points encompasses a wide array of areas. The division next step involves briefing Minister of Education Dr. Naya Gatsby-Dolly on their plans to enhance Tobago's education system. And that was your news in 90 seconds.
Life is good with Zero. Zero interest for 6 months. Zero down payments. Zero stress payment plan. That's right. With Standards, My Terms, we are putting the power of zero in your hands. Now, you can get that new sectional, fridge, stove, or TV for zero down. Pay zero interest later and enjoy a zero stress payment plan plus quick approval within 48 hours. Standards, never beaten on quality and prices.
Yes, good morning, viewers, and welcome back to the Tobago Updates morning show. And we're heading straight on into our birthday shoutouts happening here on Tobago Updates.
First up, we have in the month of May for the 2nd, we have Miss Marsha Holder. Happy birthday to you from our Tobago Updates family. I hope your day is as exciting as Julian would have it be, because he's very excited for the month
I want to
of
tell
May.
you, she's part of that inspiration. You know,
Right.
we were at church on Sunday, and you know, she reminded, and you know, as I looked on at the service, she gave me that gentle reminder, because she's actually born on the 1st of May.
Okay.
That we are entering into a majestic month. You know, a month indeed that is miraculous, and we must be thankful.
We must
and
be
I am
thankful.
inclined to agree with her. So, Sister Marsha Holder, I certainly want to send you birthday shout-outs, continued blessings as you start off that month of May for us, May 1st, and to wish you God's continued blessings. May is a month to celebrate indeed, folks, and I'm certain that Kelly Thomas will also agree. We want to wish you a happy birthday, Kelly Thomas, and indeed continued blessings going out to you as you celebrate your birthday as a fellow Mayborn. I want to wish you the very best. I want to take the opportunity, just as we head on out of birthdays, to send out some congratulations. And we saw quite recently, would have been just at the end of April, and I want to pull up that photo on screen, some time ago when he assumed the office and responsibility as the then administrator, Lincoln Nelson. You know, really a man that stood out with distinction. And in particular, why this standing out for me this morning is, I'm certain by now you've seen it far and wide across social media. The staff of the Division of Health really sending an exemplary signal. You know, sometimes you have administrators come and administrators go quietly in terms of making that change. But what I saw via that video and images courtesy the Division of Health, Wellness and Social Protection, a guard of honor.
Yes.
A guard of honor for a man so deserving. And I felt that it was an excellent opportunity for us to send out our congratulations indeed for to Lincoln Nelson. He has certainly served with distinction, and I dare say you continue to be that very good gentleman. We meet up occasionally in spaces and places, you know, definitely as you continue to celebrate and to enjoy life, and we want to continue to wish you the very best. And as I said, indeed, the signal of your work wasn't only displayed by what you did, but also by those whom you served,
Yes.
really expressing that appreciation and thanks. So I want to join with the Division of Health this morning in extending congratulations and well done to you, Lincoln Nelson. And also we have in some news this morning coming out of the office of the Chief Secretary. What we have is the appointment of one of the new administrators within the office of the Chief Secretary, Melissa Guy. And there you have on screen, we have the Chief Administrator extending congratulations and welcoming Administrator Melissa Guy to office. And we want to say congratulations and to wish you the very best as one of the newly appointed administrators in the Tobago House of Assembly. Congratulations. All right, viewers. At this point, Natalia, we're heading on in.
Yes.
Who do we have in the rundown this morning?
Well, in our rundown, I will give you the rundown. Before I do that, though, I want to send out congratulations. We don't have a picture on screen, but we do have him in studio, to Julian Skeet. Yes, for his appointment as administrator in the Division of Tourism. Yes, I'm correct. Yes, so congratulations to Julian, Mr. Julian Skeet, I should say, and God's blessings in your way forward.
Indeed,
Yes.
indeed.
So for our rundown this morning, according to one of our youth hosts from yesterday, he said we are diving into shark-infested waters, right? So the majority of our show this morning will be discussing the events that occurred, including a British citizen from the United Kingdom who was attacked by a shark, unfortunately, in his bathing at the Turtle Beach area, right? So up first we would have the behavior of bull shark, the way forward. It will be done by Farnaz Solomon, a marine biologist, followed by shark attack, a fisherman's perspective. Junior Kwashi will be telling us his perspective on that, of course. And then last but not least, illegal fishing in Tobago waters, also done by Mr. Junior Kwashi. So we have an exciting lineup this morning, Julian.
Indeed, an exciting lineup in the mix. And viewers, we want to thank you so much for the continued love and support, and for continuing to choose the Tobago Updates morning show. And indeed, we most certainly look forward to connecting with you as we head on out for a quick break. We want to remind you that this is your opportunity to share the live, share the live, share the live.
Deltec Distributors Weekend Special. Wings Friday, 3 pounds wings, 2.5 kilogram fries. Special 100 TT. Soup Saturday, 2 pounds cube beef, 2 pounds cow heel, 2 pounds chicken foot, 2 pounds pigtail, or smoked bone. Special $150. Super Sunday, 3 pounds leg and thigh chicken, 3 pounds sliced pork, 3 pounds lamb slice, 3 pounds cheese, 2 pack of pasta. Special $250. Located Main Road, Argyle, Tobago. We deliver 20 TT. Contact us on deltecdistributors.com 395-5040 or 237-0102. Deltec Distributors Weekend Special.
Tobago Glass Supplies has been a leading name for over 37 years in the glass and aluminum market in Tobago. We provide an extensive range of high-quality, innovative aluminum and glass products for commercial and residential use. Competitive prices with superior and professional services by committed employees who are guided by rigid quality standards. Tobago Glass Supplies specializes in the manufacture and installation of glass and aluminum products that are essential to today's homeowners and the business environment. We are engaged in marketing, sales, and installation of a variety of products. These ranges from windows and doors to necessities such as mirrors for homes and vehicles, designed and manufactured in-house or imported. Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Yes, good morning, viewers, and welcome back to the Tobago Updates morning show, coming to you here live from the Port Mall in Scarborough, Tobago. We're just at about 7:15 a.m. And just before we head on into that interview, I wanted to take the time out this morning to do a quick shout out to none other than an Evelyn Charles. And, you know, I met Evelyn yesterday in terms of our interactions and so on. And she was in the vicinity. I suspect that we live in the same area. And, you know, as I pulled in, she saw me and she said, "You are the guy from Tobago Updates?" And I said, "Yes." And most certainly we had a quick conversation there. But I'm particularly happy that we have Natalia on this morning, because Evelyn was saying to me, not only does she follow Tobago Updates, but she is particularly impressed with our Youth Wednesday show and the exceptional work of our young people. And this morning I thought it's so fitting for me to really send that shout out. She said, "I wouldn't be the one to type in or send anything, but I am always tuned in." So this morning I want to give a shout out to Evelyn Charles, and we want to say thank you so much for your continued love and support for the Tobago Updates morning show, and that particular encouragement to our Youth Wednesday as we continue to boast the only one to have that dedicated time for our young persons as we continue to invest in their future growth and development. So congratulations indeed.
Thank you so much. All
right, viewers, and at this point we're preparing to head on into our first interview this morning with Farinaz Solomon, marine biologist, as we continue the conversation speaking to the behavior of bull sharks. Good morning to you and welcome.
Hi, good morning. Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. So I know we started the conversation quite recently in terms of looking at the scenario and situation. And then we saw what would have happened more recently, videos circulating and so on, as it relates to, people have gone all out and in some cases appearing to send that message. Your thoughts, concerns in the circumstances?
Yes, I did see the videos that were circulating yesterday. Very unfortunate. But I think what happened is that this shark incident have actually highlighted a very common practice that occurs in our waters. And we do fish for sharks. We have a shark fishery, whether it's got by bycatch or whether people target sharks. So they do bring in sharks. And, there's a lot of there's a global conservation, there's an issue regarding the conservation of sharks because they're very important to our marine environment. They are what we call apex predators. Not all, but some of them. So you have like the tiger sharks, the bull sharks, some of our hammerheads, for example, the great hammerhead. They are apex predators, meaning, and this refers to their position in the food chain. So they are top of the food chain. And what they do is that they help to keep their prey in check. And by doing this, it reduces the pressure on what their prey actually eats. And a lot of these fishes are fishes that we actually catch or harvest for food. As well, a lot of these fishes are fishes that are important to our reefs. They serve some sort of ecological importance on the reef. And so when we remove the top predators like sharks, right, their prey, their populations of prey are allowed to explode. And this affects the fishes lower down, right? So sharks are very important to the health of our coral reef ecosystems. And they're also very vulnerable to overfishing, because they have very special life history characteristics. So they reproduce very slowly. To put it in a nutshell, sharks take very long to become sexually mature. For example, a bull shark would take like about 8 to 10 years to become sexually mature, to produce young. And then the amount of young that it produces is very little compared to normal bony fishes like a carrot or kingfish that would produce something like 1 million eggs. A litter for a bull shark would be like something like about 25 pups, if so much, right? So that they're very, very slow to reproduce, and hence they are very, very vulnerable to overfishing. And we do have a shark fishery. And unfortunately, Trinidad and Tobago, we did go through these steps of developing a national plan of action many years ago. So there is a draft, but we haven't implemented anything. And so this shark attack with, people catching sharks has just brought to light the fact that we really need to do something with regards to conservation. And hopefully, it would help in a positive way, because it really is bringing the issue to light, right? But it is something that happens. We catch shark, so we need to deal with it now.
So I wanted to get from you, you made a particular point there in terms of the fact that we catch sharks. And some have been expressing via social media what's the big uproar about at the moment. Bearing in mind, it's a delicacy in Trinidad and Tobago to have a good beacon shark. And of course, the shark have got to come from somewhere. How do you respond in terms of that kind of balance? Is it at a point now where it's probably indiscriminate, or really and truly it's just that we haven't caught it on camera before because we were all enjoying the meal? A very good beacon shark in this circumstance. How do you balance that off for those that express those views that they don't see the real concern at this point?
Yes. So it happens, and my background is actually fisheries, so I've seen it happen. That particular landing site where the bull sharks were brought in, I have been there before. Sharks are landed at that site, right? It's not uncommon, right? Yes, shark is very important to us, socioeconomic and culturally. When we did the National Plan of Action for Sharks, it is recognized that shark, culturally is part of our diet, right? And certainly no one was saying ban shark fishing. What you need to do is put measures in place. There are many different species of sharks in our waters, right? And what you need to do, put a management plan. The ones that are endangered, you can do things like protect spawning areas, open and close seasons. There are different things that you can do. It is recognized that it is part of our diet. And it's important to us then, right? So no one is saying ban sharks, but you need to put management things in place. There can be a balance, right? And we have to start somewhere.
All right. And if we do see a shark, this is the way going forward. If we, as a community, as bathers, frequent bathers, see a shark on our shoreline, in our waters, what should be our response?
If you are in the water, right, what you do is you quietly try to come out of the water, right? Maybe if you can keep an eye on the shark as you come out of the water, you could do that as well. If you have been fishing, or if you have any sort of fish and what you call chum near you, keep it as far away as possible and come out of the water. And then if there are lifeguards, you alert the lifeguards, and you also alert other people that are in the water so that they can exit as well, right? You don't want to make a big splash and stuff like that. Sharks tend to get, excited as well when that happens. So you do it as quietly as possible.
So you mentioned that there would be smaller fish around us when the shark is near. Are there other signs that we could look for to tell that the shark is near?
Well, I know usually if there are sharks, one of the first signs, so of course there are certain things in the environment that would increase the probability of a shark being present. Okay, and these are, you don't have to look very far to find these. Sharks tend to feed or tend to come closer to shore during dusk till dawn in order to feed, right? And this is why it is recommended that you don't swim during these times. Shark tends to come, or they are attracted by things like chum in the water. So if you see someone fishing and they're throwing things like fish guts in the water, right, that's not safe, right? So you want to avoid situations like that. Very often as well, one of the first signs is that normally you would see like a fin. Lifeguards, very often they look for fins out in the water. Those are patrolling. There are tourist beaches that are known for having sharks nearby, and they look for fins in the water. Yeah, but there are conditions that sharks are attracted to. Another one would be they're found at the mouth of rivers during heavy rainfall, where you have an outflow of organic matter or nutrients into the ocean, right by the river mouth, right? That would attract smaller fishes, which in turn would attract sharks, because sharks would feed on those fish. So there are certain conditions that you can avoid.
It's interesting that you've mentioned that, and I listened to your response in particular to Natalia when you spoke about the fact that you should do it as quietly as possible. But it's almost as though every movie we've watched, when there's a shark, people are all screaming and pointing to the water, with people in the water saying, "Shark, shark," which I suspect is not very much the best response in real life circumstances. You mentioned something in speaking there, and I really want you to use the opportunity in terms of reminding persons. Some still have that fear that there's going to be shark attacks just continuing on the island. And when we spoke the last time around, I really want you to remind our viewers and listeners from a professional perspective in terms of, is this something that we should anticipate frequently? Is this a rare occurrence? Just give a gentle reminder.
The shark attacks or shark incidents like this is very, very rare. It's a very unfortunate, tragic incident that happened, but it's rare. I don't want to be cliche, because people, in trying to convince people or to allay fears, they would try to compare it to your chances of dying from a lightning strike is greater, chances of getting into an accident is greater than being bitten by a shark. But overall, the point is, it's very rare. And the thing is, we've always had shark in our waters, and we have been coexisting with them forever. Okay, it's not like it's now that it's happening. No, they've always been there.
There's a lot of speculations happening now in relation to bull sharks, and certainly when things like these become popular, everyone becomes an expert. What would you say are some of the myths definitely out there coming out of this incident within the last few days in response from the general public, that as a professional you would most certainly want to clarify those kinds of misconceptions?
I think the main one is that people tend to think, because of this incident, people are thinking that, well, sharks go after people, but they don't. Shark prey is fish, more or less fish. They don't go after people. Very, very rare, and you may be surprised to know that you have probably been in close vicinity of a shark, with a shark just totally ignoring you. They don't want to be near you either, right? So, like I said, humans are not shark prey. Shark feed on fish. They're not coming after you. And unfortunately, you mentioned a lot of movies earlier. You mentioned movies like Jaws, and people get their first impression of sharks from movies like Jaws,
Correct.
Where sharks seem to be demented and going after people. This is not the case, right? And in fact, I think the producer of Jaws at some point in time came out and apologized for that because of that movie, Jaws people have such a bad impression of sharks. It did a lot of harm to the reputation of sharks, and I think he apologized for that.
Definitely. As we prepare to close this morning's interview, any other facts or information that you would want to share, based on your profession and kind of helping persons to move beyond the current grave concern that may exist in this space? And even to those looking on from the outside as, possible visitors to the island.
Yes, I think the authorities, so obviously we are in new waters. This has never happened before. The authorities are doing everything that they possibly can to make sure the waters are safe for people to go back to the bathing beaches, to open back the beaches that have been closed. We need to follow the guidance of the authorities and just be knowledgeable. We are on social media for everything. We search everything on the internet. Even if you're not provided with enough information, it's very easy for you to go and look these things up. Right? How to keep yourself safe in the water, what you should or should not do, right? What may attract sharks to a particular area. There's enough information out there for you to find it and to follow it. Right? Shark attacks are already rare. You can reduce encounters, which would make it even rarer.
Thank you so much, Faranaz Solomon, marine biologist, for joining us here on set this morning as we continue to focus, of course, on this incident that would have taken place. And more importantly, as a media entity, to be able to try to bring you the facts, bring you additional information, some guidelines, and to bring some clarity as we go along. So most certainly, thank you so much again for joining us here on the Tobago Updates morning show. The viewers, we want to continue to thank each and every one of you, as you connect with us, and most certainly, we're going to be having coming up next, we're going to be having discussions as well with Junior Kwashi, again getting another perspective, and it would be interesting, Natalia, to hear from the side of a fisherman.
Yes, because we did hear from the marine biologist side. She would have delved more into the theory and things of these things. So now we get it from someone on the ground, well, I should say on the water, yes. Right? A fisherman on the water. So I'm excited to hear what his views are on this.
Indeed. In fact, because we've been hearing the concerns coming out, and it gets to the point of livelihood and so on now for those particularly with the circumstances in terms of the areas there for the beaches and so on. So certainly we look forward to those updates coming up as we look forward to the upcoming discussions. But at this point, as we prepare to head on out, we want to say thank you so much indeed for continuing to choose the Tobago Updates morning show, and we want to remind you that this is your opportunity to share the live, share the live, share the live.
TWCU Credit Union Cooperative Society Limited notifies all members of its 74th annual general meeting at the Center of Excellence Tunapuna and Shore Park Complex, Tobago on Saturday, 11th May 2024, commencing at 1 p.m. Items on the agenda include minutes of the 73rd AGM, Board of Directors and other committee reports, election of officers, presentation of audited accounts 2023, recommendations, dividends 2023, and resolutions, budget proposal 2024, amendments to bylaws. Registration for the meeting can be done online via the Society's website at www.twcu.co.tt. Their main office at number 31 Pembroke Street, Port of Spain, Trinidad, or their Tobago unit at Port Mall Shopping Center, Scarborough, Tobago. Deadline for registration is Wednesday, 1st May 2024 at 3 p.m. In order to safeguard the health and safety of all persons in attendance, COVID-19 protocol measures will be observed. For further information, please contact the Society at 623-4444. TWCU Credit Union Cooperative Society Limited. Our credit union, one family.
Need a fresh start? Upgrade your life with the things you want. At Standard Distributors in Canaan, life is good with zero. Get that amazing fridge, the stylish sofa with zero down and easy financing. Your dream house is within reach. Visit Standard Distributors today. Life is good with zero.
Tipsy presents Sip and Paint, an expression of a mother's love. Join us at the Tropicist Beach Hotel, Sunday, May 12th from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. Guests are entitled to finger foods and wine. Full package painter tickets only $600. And if you just want to hang out, we've got you. Limers pay $450. You'll be entertained by a special sensational reggae artist, a live band, and come witness our bonfire. We've got loads of giveaways. We're catering to mom all evening. Sunday, May 12th, 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. Tropicus Beach Hotel. Come, sip and paint with Tipsy.
She ride the wave, come jump in the range, 100 funny, that's much your money mean. Don't need your love, that I cost me fi pay. Like King Solomon, a bag a girl to me name. Every girl broke out, Lord, broke out. Me say hot girl, and that's your time fi step out. Big bumper girl, your time fi get strap out. Hand on your knee, treat a girl and your body. And every girl I get wild out tonight. Why? Party in my out tonight. If she suck, me a fine out tonight. I you know what a wild out tonight. Out the blue light, fi a try out the back.
This is how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show, and everybody's gonna know. Say it to them once again. They better look up below. This is your show, and everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning.
Eric believes attacks on humans are more likely to be accidental or warning than predatory. The shark's behavior here seems to support his case. Even with food just centimeters from his feet, they don't attack. Eric believes this is because they usually need 3 cues to prompt a bite: the right smell, sight, and sound. Despite being surrounded by the smell of food, Eric doesn't look or sound like a good meal. In fact, he seems to be more in the way than anything. Eric is so confident the sharks won't bite, he ups the stakes by producing factor 2, sound. When swimming, we generate a low-frequency noise similar to a struggling fish that might whet the shark's appetite. But Eric is still confident because the third factor, the water visibility, is good. If this was murky water, a flash of his white leg might look like a fish underbelly and cause an attack. Eric has been doing this for 12 years and was bitten for the first time just last year when swimming in murky water. But it does seem in general that these sharks are smart enough to be cautious of our strange form and can distinguish us from natural prey.
And we're back here at Tobago Updates this morning. Thank you for those just joining us, and thank you for those continuing to be with us here this morning on Tobago Updates. We just heard from Miss Solomon about her marine biologist perspective on the shark attack that happened in Tobago recently. Now we are here with Fisherman, Vice President of the All Fisherfolk Association, Mr. Junior Kwashi. Good morning, Mr. Kwashi.
Hi, good morning. Good morning.
And how are you this morning?
I'm fine. I'm great.
Now, viewers, I could tell you that Mr. Kwashi is excited to get into this topic. The video that you just viewed was somewhat his personal opinion on why the shark attack happened or how it would have happened or what contributes to what happened where that tourist was attacked by the shark. So we are here to hear his expounded views on that video. So firstly, we'd like Mr. Kwashi. He will tell us about himself and how he is able to tell us his opinion on the shark attack from a fisherman's perspective.
Hi, good morning again. Junior Kwashi's name, All Fisherfolk Vice President Tobago.
Yes.
I've been in the fish industry for over 45 years. So I fish for maybe 35 years and then I get into the business of fishermen, seeing fishermen problem, assessing fishermen. And throughout Tobago, I've been traveling to Bahamas and Guyana and these countries, representing Tobago as fisherfolk. So I have a great idea about where
about fishing.
About. Yes,
right.
yes.
Okay, that's very nice to hear.
Sure.
You mentioned the other countries and that may come up later on in our interview this morning. So in your personal opinion, why do you think that that attack occurred? Because some people have their theory on what happened and then other people have other theories. We'd like the theory of the fisherman.
Sharks is not bad as people think they are, right? It had to be something that triggered a shark to make the attack. Now, if that water is clean and pretty, that shark will not do nothing to you. And I think one of the problem is that people have to remember, and THA need to understand it likewise. Plymouth is a nesting area for turtles. Turtles are very rank. And once turtles start to nest in an area, especially they start to make the young ones start to come out, people don't know if a turtle lay 100 eggs and all hatch. 5 may survive. Predators will eat them, the sharks and whatever, fish, whatever, right? And they are very rank. And based on what I get happened down at that beach this morning, where that excavator work was done, that is one of the main problems that happened there. Because when those eggs bust and the rank get into the water changes whole structure. And that telling you one time that water is very rank. Not one shark or 2 sharks, maybe barracuda could be involved. You don't know, right? We only see a shark or we hear about a shark. But when something rank gets in the water, it leaves a long trail. You don't just stop right here, you leave a long trail. And according to the current, it could drift up, it could drift out, it could drift down. And once that trail keep on going out, it brings feed. Right? It's like you would let go of bread in the water and because crumbs going, that's how it operates like, right? And according to how a person swims, they resemble something.
Right.
For example, if I see a turtle swim like this.
Right.
And if I do water doing the same pattern like the turtle, my hands will show very white. Both of them, their foot sole will show very white. And in that murky water, I could be attacked by any shark that passes because they look at me as a prey.
Okay. So, but based on the video, right, there were 3 factors that he pointed out where sharks can find you, right? One of them was sight. You're saying that the water was murky, right? But what about sound? What about smell? What do you think that shark would have smelled or what he would have heard? He or she, let me not be like that. What would they have experienced in terms of those factors that would cause the shark to attack that citizen?
Okay, shark is one of the most smart fish in the sea. People don't know that. A lot of us fisher folk who go through the older age will know that. A shark will be in Charlesville, and there is something in distress at Crown Point, and a shark will know.
Okay.
And according to the reporting pattern or whatever it is, distress, the actions, the shark radar will pick up that. Shark is very, very, very intelligent. Right? They have a radar system and they smell a lot, far distant, miles off. They get the scent. So as I said before, as the water was contaminated and mucky, that one time I looking for thing to eat. Because
so, okay. We know that the turtle nesting is still ongoing, right, down at Turtle Bay. There is also the influx of seaweed that is coming in on our shoreline that would cause low visibility to the shark, as you said, in the water. So as this is continuing, Should we expect another shark attack if we go into the water?
No.
But you just said.
I said no.
Okay, all right.
And
Let
the
me
reason why I
hear.
said no is because as long as we don't disturb that river,
Yes.
to send that muck into the water, leave it alone.
Okay. All right. So what do you think could have been done differently when... Now, a lot of people are saying that it had to be that the shark was interfered with. We don't know what happened there in the situation. But from your perspective, especially looking at the video that we just saw, he was very calm. Our marine biologist also explained that sharks could get very excited very easily.
Mm-hmm.
So in terms of the video, in terms of what she said this morning, as a fisherman, do you think, what do you think could have been done differently to avoid the shark attack?
The only thing that will be done differently is what started from land.
Right.
Right? If everything is nature, when the sea blocks the river mouth, it's for a purpose.
Okay.
When the rain falls, you got to bust it out at due time. Once you interfere with nature, most time they are chain link down the road that affect us. Right? Costa have river mouth that blocks, Alvea, Charlesville, all the river mouth block. And sometimes they just barely seep through for a purpose, they filter down through the river. Right? And if you just make a sudden bust, remember it's a sudden bust of all of these things, just we need for the EMA, whosoever they are, to do the right thing. Let people know the rivers belongs to the authority.
Yes.
Right? No one is allowed to go and do them what they think.
What happened?
What
Yes.
they think.
Mm-hmm.
What they think they want to do. Right? And the EMA must do their job. Fisher folk at FAR have a lot of knowledge about these things, right?
Yes, because you all are on the water.
Yes, we are on the water,
Yes.
we are on the front, and nobody contacted us.
To get your opinion.
No opinion, right? A lot of people tell us that because they have maybe cash, or they maybe know somebody where they do what they want. But I said they are chain link down the road going to
Yes.
affect us.
Okay.
If we do the right thing, don't think about nothing will happen.
Okay.
And we're good to go with that party.
So you mentioned that the fishermen were not contacted. Let me just throw this in. Do you think that a partnership should form between the Fisher Folk Association, as you are the vice president, and the EMA in terms of making these decisions?
110%. So you're so accurate, right?
Yes.
Because I did idea. EMA does, should I say, if we have to go to like fishermen coming up, we have to go to our EMA pass just to have function AD. It's every paperwork. But yet, EMA is right there. A man coming and bust through a river, bust through this and do everything. EMA is not there.
So I see that Mr. Koshi is, of course, excited, because I am as well, for the next interview, right? So I'll just do my best so that we can focus on what exactly happened in the water. You can expound of course, in the next interview to come. Yes? So my next question to you, do you think that our environment may foster another shark attack? I mean, you said that, you said no to the shark coming back, but the environment is still murky.
Well,
the turtles are still nesting.
Turtle nesting is not the issue.
Okay.
Once the EMA don't give permission or people don't do what they want with the environment, things going to go nice.
Okay.
Right? How often rain fall? When the rain fall, it takes its course and goes through the river gradually. Right? The rain going to come down, water going to mix, and things is so nice that sometimes we don't know how mixtures go. When the rain fall, as soon as water go into what you have and mix it and bring it to how it want and how to go in the river and how to go in the sea. It's not just a sudden burst of. As I said again, there will be no more shark attack, don't worry about that. Alongside the EMA, and we work together and they said, okay, we're on this by river. No, we can't like that. We need to filter it out. And little do people know, that water from the river was filtered in the sea.
Okay.
Through the sun. Clean. It was not sudden bust.
All right. As we bring our interview to a close this morning, well, this part of the interview, of course, what advice do you have? What can be done to prevent any further shark attacks that might happen in the future?
Bring ADFA into play, discuss with ADFA before you do what people want to do on the river, EMA, working with THA. We are going to work with anybody for the benefit of Tobago. Not only fishing, anything to protect fishing in Tobago. We are 100% agreeable to work with anybody.
And should the ATFA come into play here, right, after, let's say the decision has been made to have you all go forward in giving advice to the EMA, what will you now put forward to avoid these attacks?
I wouldn't say advice, give advice, assist.
Assist. What would your assistance look like if you are to partner with the EMA?
We are going to sit around the table and discuss and give you all and give everybody the plan that we have. We don't just give away like that just on, because people take our idea and run with it.
All right.
A lot of times it happens.
So the plans are coming to come?
Yes, the plans. We have plans for all of these things. We know knowledge about certain things, so we could talk about it.
All right, Mr. Kwashi, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Thank you for sharing your views on what the shark attack will look like, from a fisherman's perspective, of course.
Thank you.
Right? Mr. Kwashi was here, for those of us just joining, Mr. Kwashi was here speaking on the recent shark attack that we had in Tobago by the bull shark, right? He will be here as we continue on our program. So before we go to a break, I encourage our viewers to share the live, share the live, share the live.
The best place to stay in Tobago is at Thorn's Place, with rates starting as low as 200 TT. Call or WhatsApp 745-7306 or 682-8676. We are located uptown Scarborough, 5 minutes away from the port. Remember, at Thorn's Place, our aim is to make your stay safe and affordable.
At JK Tech, we bring technology to your doorstep. From cutting-edge laptops to reliable printers, we've got it all. Nationwide delivery and a new website for easy online ordering. JK Tech is your one-stop shop for your electronics and computer needs. Carrying top brands such as Acer, Samsung, HP, and much more. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at JK Tech TT or visit jktechtt.com. Quality tech is just a click away. JK Tech. Evaluate your shopping experience, your tech, your way. Call or WhatsApp 383-2651. Shop smart, shop JK Tech.
No place like home, home, home.
Oh, I love Tobago, baby.
When we outside, it's an ocean of love. All that we align to the stars up above. Let we dance now, take a chance now with me. And we go jump till morning. Look, the moon gone sleeping. Tell them we not leaving. Till the last drop of a canal is madness in the capital. So I feel like I run in town again. Jump and shake the ground again. Brave with all my friends and them. No place like home. 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 We go jump till the moon come down. It's we who the stars shine on. Play a mass and break away. Freedom in we DNA.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back, viewers. For those of you on your way to work, just getting in your last cup of tea because maybe you have that gas bubbling there for a while. I want to thank you so much for joining Tobago Updates Talks this morning. We continue on with Mr. Junior Kwashi. He is, again, the Vice President of the All Fisherfolk Association. And he'll be telling us a little bit about we just discussed his perspective on the shark attacks. We'll now get into the legal ramifications that has resulted from the shark attack and what he thought, what illegal fishing might have caused this shark attack. So we get right into it. Junior, we continue on this morning. There was a video circulating with some young men who had caught a plethora of fish, and that included a lot of sharks. What is your perspective on this? Do you think that it should have been done? It shouldn't be done? What do you think would have caused such, an increased motivation to catch so many sharks?
Okay, let's all think of first a fisherman.
Okay.
And not the young men. People who catch fish was fishermen.
Okay, fishermen.
From here, from Tobago, who make a living by fishing, right? In Tobago, there are, out of 100%, 1% that fish shark.
Okay.
Right? 1% of 100 come like a fair long time.
This is your rough statistic?
Yes, I knew that.
Okay.
I knew that, right? Tobago don't have much shark fishers. What you have is a lot of legal fishers that fish shark here. The Venezuelans are here catching shark by the tons. And we've been calling for the Coast Guard to stop Venezuelan fishing here. Right? You see everybody talking about the shark. The fishermen catch some shark, is a problem. The Bajans, the Venezuelans are outside there catching the sharks by the tons and taking it back to their country. In Venezuela, shark is Mr. Shark. The shark fin are Mr. Shark fin. They catch a shark, take it back to their country. The guys catch some copper shark. And I don't get them wrong, because at the end of the day, we were saying we need to protect Tobago. Seeing that, in my opinion, I think the shark that I see on the video where I say attack him, I think that died. Yesterday video.
Okay.
When you look at the shark, the length they give us.
What
the 10
signs?
feet length where they get a man catch one is 12 feet long.
All right.
Right. We just saying that. Right. Now shark is a very smart species of fish. A shark will follow you from here to Toku, behind your boat, and it will not sit. Right? The shark that guy catch down there, I think is just a good thing for all of in Tobago, because nobody do eat shark really, but people will love the bacon shark. The hotel is going to get something. The fishermen going to get something, because you know when a car fish, if you catch fish shark and there's going to living with that you know, you're on the bread line. Right? So I endorse that the guy catch the shark and sharks, big one, small one. And I'm going to say, we need to put things in place. If we don't want that to happen, find another way to assist the man. Because if a mango tree bearing 1,000 mango, and I pick up 2, and the next rest go somewhere else in another country, what happens? The country bills are hybrid, right?
Right.
So we are saying the couple shark that the guy catching, not much, just couple sharks. I could tell you a couple sharks, they'll be 1,000 pounds, overall counting. It may look because it's couple big one and size one make up, but it's not much shark that. I love the fishermen catch a shark. Because I could go and swim the freely right now. Anybody could go and be right now. Anybody.
You are confirming that we can go and
Yeah, man, I could swear for that. I tell you, nothing will happen again. Alongside we do the right thing, nothing will happen.
Okay. What do you think should be the balance between, they're saying that in international waters, sharks may be endangered. So where we have increased our catch or intake of shark, do you think this might have future ramifications?
We're not increasing.
Y'all are not increasing?
Nope, not increasing. How often shark does catch? That question. And whosoever make that alarm is supposed to ask that question or find out is that tactical about it. I could tell you for the year that amount of shark has not been caught in Tobago. Shark in the everyday fishing, like once a month, once every 3 months, according to the moon and the tide and the year and the water condition.
All right. And then you mentioned that the construction site at Turtle Bay might have caused the attack, right? Could you speak on what you think should happen down there to stop any future shark attacks? Because, I mean, the construction is ongoing, right? The construction hasn't stopped. The water is still murky. There is still seaweed in the water, etc., etc. So from the legal side of things, as a fisherman, what do you think the EMA should put into place to avoid this from happening?
EMA need to do their job. EMA to lead with alpha. When coming to sea, make sure that everybody cross the T and dot the I. For too long, we have too much construction going along in and around the waterfront. That is illegal. Somebody somewhere on top may know somebody, and that's it. You may see a person start a bill. What's the law say about the seafront? Tree Train Act. You ever hear about that word? The Tree Train Act? Tree Train Act means 100 feet behind high water mark. That means when sea rough, whatever you reach, 100 feet behind that belong to the states. 100 feet behind the high water mark. So if sea rough and reach at taxi cop, 1 feet behind that, it's its own. And people figure that they learn why they can't implement certain chain act only for the small person. I think that's not good enough.
Okay, so as we bring our interview to an end, what advice do you have to fishermen who are, well, I mean, you said that you are encouraging them to fish for shark. So what exactly is your goal here in terms of, you know, striking that balance between...
Fishermen who fish for shark, again, we do fish every day. Maybe once every 3 months. That's it. Make your living once every 3 months. Because if you don't fish, what will you get?
So you are motivating them to just go ahead and
that's it. Remember, everybody do fish shark. 1 out of 100, you mean 1%.
All right, then. Thank you so much again, Mr. Junior Koshi, for telling us your perspective on what happened at the shark attack site. What exactly you thought would have been different had, you know, the environment be different on a whole. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. And viewers, as we continue on, we ask you to share the live, share the live, share the live. We have GMT up next with Miss Adana Combi.
This is my first race for the day. I've been around the goat racing since little, so I grew up with an idea. This could be my second to third year of running goat. I felt very good when I come down and I see her in front. Felt very nice.
So long to get a good racer and you like the thing, you're going to put everything into it. And I call it jockey and say, look, we're going to dominate today. We're going to dominate. You win Friday with Latin Lover. I need you to put down your best foot forward. And so done, you do the work.
I came here with my family and they thought it was a good idea that I come to participate in the event. I train with UE at the St. Augustine campus here. This is my first time here, so it's pretty fun. And while winning my event was the icing on the cakes.
We're spending Easter in Tobago, so we said this is something that they should see. Yeah, I think it is a wonderful thing to do. for Tobago, and I like the community spirit and the environment, and of course the entrepreneurs down there with the food and the craft, and so I think it's excellent.
Today we have burgers, we have hot dogs, we have chicken and chips. Sales has been going pretty okay thus far. Yeah, it's a nice experience. As you see out here today, we have a lot of niche type businesses, a lot of small or micro businesses on the outside, so a lot of persons get the opportunity to display what they have.
It's been amazing. Watching the goats is wonderful. Also the bonnet competition is quite something.
Yeah, really good fun, really enjoyed it. Yeah, it's been crazy. We haven't seen anything like this at home.
It's really great. The races are fun to watch. All the vendors have good food and attractions. Yeah, I like it because we get to see animals that we usually don't get to see normally in Canada or like Tobago. My snake is my favorite animal. I don't know. I just have always really liked snakes. We have little garter snakes in our backyard that I always catch and always used to catch.
This is an event that normally caters to the family. And once we are able to bring families together, once we are able to execute a better social standing in our community, I think we are a success, you know. Sometimes we measure everything by financial success, but there's always the reality of having stronger communities coming out of events like this.
That was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly.
This is how it's gonna go. They better look up and low, 'cause this is your show, and everybody's gonna know. Say it to them once again. They better look up and low. This is your show, and everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show.
Welcome to Good Morning Tobago and Tobago Updates Television. I am Adana Kumbi. It is May 2nd, 2024. Yes, we are in the second quarter of our year 2024, and we do thank God for being in the land of the living. What a beautiful day it is, and we thank you so much for choosing us as we bring information to you and have good, meaningful discussions here on the Good Morning Tobago. All right, I'm going to take you into your news in 90 seconds.
News in 90 seconds is brought to you by Standards, never beaten on quality and prices.
The Division of Food Security, Natural Resources, the Environment and Sustainable Development has condemned the indiscriminate killing of sharks following the recent bull shark attack on British tourist Peter Smith. This condemnation comes in response to a video circulating on social media depicting fishermen cutting up bull sharks on the Buku Jetty in Tobago. The division in a statement issued emphasized the crucial role that sharks play in maintaining the balance of marine ecosystems. While acknowledging the concerns and fears stemming from the recent incident, the division cautioned against reacting by indiscriminately killing sharks, citing it is not only ineffective in preventing future incidents, but also detrimental to marine biodiversity. Next. The Office of the Deputy Chief Secretary will now be integrated into the Office of the Chief Secretary as announced in a media release yesterday. The release highlighted that the functions previously carried out by the Office of the Deputy Chief Secretary executed under 5 main departments, which are Intergovernmental Relations Department, Diaspora Relations Department, Foreign Direct Investment Department, Policy Monitoring and Evaluation Secretariat, and the Energy Bureau will now report directly to the Chief Administrator. And finally, the Division of Education, Research and Technology has established a 12-member committee to develop a curriculum tailored to Tobago's unique cultural identity while fostering global competencies. Education Secretary Zorisha Hackett revealed that the curriculum will roll out in preschools, primary schools and secondary schools starting September 2025. In a media release from the division, committee members were appointed following an open nomination process. Hackett stated that the committee, having convened twice, chaired by the division's technical advisor Ann Second, focal points encompasses a wide array of areas. The division's next step involves briefing the Minister of Education, Dr. Nayan Gaspidoli, on their plans to enhance Tobago's educational system. And that was your news in 90 seconds.
Life is good with Zero. Zero interest for 6 months. Zero down payments. Zero stress payment plan. That's right. With Standards, My Terms, we are putting the power of zero in your hands. Now, you can get that new sectional, fridge, stove, or TV for zero down. Pay zero interest later and enjoy a zero stress payment plan plus quick approval within 48 hours. Standards, never beaten on quality and prices.
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago here on Tobago Updates Television. I am Adana Kumbi, and we're going to begin conversations this morning in studio. We're speaking with none other than Mr. Anthony James, an activist, and we're speaking primarily this morning about something that is very important and relevant to all of us in this Trinidad and Tobago space. We're speaking this morning about constitutional reform. You might have seen or heard in the news that a committee was commissioned to engage in conversations as it relates to constitutional reform, and so we're going to have some conversations this morning. We're going to talk a little bit about where we are, some of the things that need to be discussed, and so forth. Good morning, Mr. James, and welcome.
Very pleasant morning to you, and very pleasant morning to Tobago. And indeed, these are interesting times because I raised this issue, this very constitutional reform issue, back in 1998, and really started on an active campaign in 2000. And the constitutional reform I reference particularly has to do with Tobago and the form of Tobago, the state or the status of Tobago. That form must change. And so when I say constitutional reform, I'm referring to the form that Tobago is under the jurisdiction of Trinidad, and within the jurisdiction of Tobago. Tobago is under bondage. Tobagonians and Tobago are not free. And we are not sovereign, and we need to be sovereign If that form doesn't change, then constitutional reform does not apply to Tobago. So that in raising Tobago to the level or to the form that Tobago needs to be in, it will also mean that the relationship between Tobago and Trinidad changes.
When you say sovereignty for Tobago, what does that look like?
Beautiful, right? So right now, as we know, Tobago is housed in the Trinidad Constitution in an act. And automatically it tells you that we are not sovereign. Sovereignty means that you have your own state. You can't be free or sovereign if you don't have your own state. Having your own state means that you have a head of state. The state must have a head. If you have your own house, the household must have a head. There must be a head of household. Even in the church of God, that is so. Christ is accountable to God. God is in charge. And then you have Christ, and then you have the husband, as the scripture says, followed by the wife. There must be structure. And so there is that sovereignty there. The constitutional construct of the Trinidad Constitution, and because that is what it really is, the Trinidad Constitution. And Tobago, just like other jurisdictions in Trinidad, Tobago is a part of that. Tobago is a part of the Constitution, but it's not a Trinidad and Tobago Constitution. I want to get this point very clearly in the sense that Tobago authored, or Tobago helped to author the Constitution. So Tobago helped to author the narrative that is taking place. Tobago is under orders. And it is true because in 1889, Tobago was made a ward of Trinidad. That's the history we are dealing with. That's the reality. That's the truth. And so we can't prosecute the matter without an understanding of the history. So that you had in Tobago, although it was English or British ruled, controlled in those European colonial times, there was a separate government in Tobago. Tobago had its own government. And that government, in those days, you had what you call colony and crown colony. And so that Tobago, or the system in Tobago, was much more advanced than that in Trinidad and other Caribbean jurisdictions, in the sense that Trinidad and other jurisdictions were called crown colony, meaning to say that the crown, the royal throne in England, had more direct control over the affairs. But Tobago was not so. Tobago, for all intents and purposes then, in that colonial regime, was operating independently. You follow what I'm saying? So that Tobago was stripped for whatever political reason, and those reasons have nothing to do with the productivity of the citizens of Tobago. That point must be made very, very clear. Those are colonial decisions, and colonial decisions are always made to benefit the colonizer. And the colonizer was stationed in England, in wider Britain, but specifically in England. Right? And so that we know that the history is one of colonization, because I'm saying that the system here was closed down completely, for whatever reasons, as I said. The system was closed down. So Tobago had here a governor. And that governor resided in Government House Road. And that is why it is named that. That history is not taught in the schools. So the government was stationed up there, and that street or road is named Government House Road as a consequence of that. So Tobago had its own governor, its own executive council or cabinet, if you like. Tobago had its own legislature. So there was an executive here, a sovereign executive. There was a sovereign legislator here in Tobago. And there was also a judiciary. And that is what completes government. Executive, legislative, and judicial. All those things existed here and ought to exist here today. If it served them then it ought to serve us, our people. We have not yet been emancipated. So that we are really living a dark lie in Tobago. From the leadership come right now, we are living lies. And when we are bowing to anthem and standing attention, we are all in a whole foray of lies. It's like when the children of Israel were in Babylon there, and they decided to play an anthem, and telling the Hebrew guys that when this anthem plays, you must bow down. But those with real conviction, those who were free and who were never enslaved mentally, spiritually, psychologically, they decide, come with me, they are not going to yield and they're not going to bow. We need that spirit in leadership in Tobago here.
Mr. James,
Go ahead.
we're talking about sovereignty in Tobago, and you mentioned quite a few things, and the fact that was the position.
Yes.
I can't remember what year you mentioned.
1889.
1889, right? And that has since changed. I don't know when the change took place. And you're saying that that's what we need to go back to, because back then it worked and it served the people. But is Tobago, because you're speaking specifically about the Tobago space now, is Tobago, or what will it take for Tobago to get to that place mentally? Because we're talking now about capacity, to be in a position to be sovereign, as you have that described what sovereignty is.
Well, sovereignty is really your natural state. That's the way God created us. He gave every man, woman, every being that he created actually, he gave each his or her own mind. And your mind is what's supposed to regulate you. You can't have another mind regulating you. And so that all the minds in Tobago collectively ought to be deciding the story of Tobago. That's natural, unquestionable. Nobody should question that. It has nothing to do. People always raise the question. It's a devilish question, right? It's a devilish idea. Can you use your own mind? Are you ready to use your own mind? Should you? They're really challenging God and the structure of God. You know, to make a case that somebody else's mind, that this blessed Trinidad mind in this case, ought to be directing the Tobagonian mind. You might wonder if this Trinidad mind is so great. What's so great about them? This is all a pattern of thinking. It's a system, and so that consequentially, you have a pattern of thinking, and therein lies a question. You know, if you have the capacity and the ability and all of that, you have the right. Once you have the right in this world of information, where nothing is esoteric anymore, meaning to say is of special knowledge, that's gone through. We live in the information age here. I know that most Tobagonians, we all grew up in the church of God as well, where we are taught that I can do all things through Jesus Christ who strengthens us. In fact, we ought not to do anything outside of Jesus Christ. We ought to be doing everything, so that therefore we are really denying the faith. Well, yeah, we are living in a contradiction. We have lost our way.
And what is that thing that will bring us back to that way that we're speaking about now, to get us to the position that you're saying this is what Tobago needs, and this is what Tobago deserves, and this is the right of Tobago to be sovereign?
Yeah, we can't accomplish anything without sovereignty. We can't. And so that all the constitutional reform talk going on, substantially, we understand subconsciously that something is wrong. We know that. We know that we are being oppressed. We know that. And we know that something is wrong. But to put our finger on the exact point, and then to construct a structure thereafter to free us, that's where the issue, people are having trouble now to determine this solution. And then we have been taught, actually, by propaganda that we should not be using our own mind. Our mind in Tobago ought not to be free, because they call that freedom independence. And somehow a case has been made that you ought not to be independent. But if you are not independent, it means that you are dependent. And I can't see for the life of me how you being dependent could be superior to being not dependent. But we call not dependent in English, we use little prefixes and so on to flip the meaning of words. So the real word there is not really independent. The real word is dependent. And we want to cause the opposite of that, because we know that dependency cannot be the ideal thing. So to flip that word in English, we say, well, you're not. But not dependent is not a word, so they call it independent. That's all. And what it means, it doesn't mean that you're on your own in the world. There's no nation in the world that is on their own. In fact, Europe is so heavily dependent on Africa, whether we like it or not. Europe, in fact, the president of France addressed the nation a few nights ago, and he's claiming that Europe will die. What he really means to say is, without the resources of Africa, Europe will die. The life that they now live, they won't know it. And so in that sense, what God really designed is to have independent people and nations, independent, free people and nations interacting together.
So when
you follow what I'm saying? Yeah.
So when Tobago gets to this place of sovereignty, as you're talking about, independence from Trinidad, you're saying that Europe is heavily dependent on the resources of another continent.
Yes, yes.
When Tobago, or should Tobago tomorrow become that sovereign
sovereign nation, yeah.
Is there still going to be a measure of dependence from somewhere?
No.
Okay, so this is getting very interesting. Right.
So don't confuse the context of dependency. All the nations in the world, God designed it that way. We are interdependent. To live,
that's the word.
To live the quality of life that we want to live, because God did not place all the resources in one land,
space. That's
in
right.
one space. If He didn't do that, so even years ago, when Israel were in the land of Canaan, they were in the land of Canaan, and they run out of bread. You know the scriptures. I can refer that there. So what they did, Jacob sent his sons, and they walked into Egypt to get bread, and reach upon their sibling down there who they didn't remember. And because of the wisdom of God down there, we had the 7 lean years and the 7 fat years and so on. And so that it was always the case that nations interacted with each other. It happens even within a local space. In one family doesn't have all the talent. God didn't design it that way. We all come with different gifts, different blessings. But my blessing surely is no reason for me to reign over you, because there's one mediator between man and God. It's Christ Jesus. You can't have another nation fitting themselves inside there. We are accountable to God directly. We are accountable to God, to Jesus Christ directly, and to no other entities. What is going on here is devilism that is going on here between Tobago and Trinidad, posing. And the reason why too we often ask the questions, I go back to that, is because of the propaganda by the ruler, by the ruler of the space. I'm talking about that in Trinidad and Tobago. They have been pumping that propaganda to question yourself and to second guess yourself. But the truth is, the truth of the matter is, where resources concerned, if you really move out the layers and really go into it, you will find really that actually Trinidad has been living off Tobago, and they have been depending on, and they wish it could. They are literally afraid. Listen to me. They are literally afraid of losing Tobago. They are literally, folks, afraid not of losing the human resources, even though they have benefited a lot from our resources, you know. Because if you go back into history again, especially in the public sector down there, it has been Tobagonians running that space, Tobagonian human resources, but more so in terms of the natural resources, where Tobago is laden with gas and oil. That's an absolute proven fact. And with a population of 60, 70,000 people in Tobago, if all that resources should now become available to such a small population, do the math. Do the math. So we have no reason to fear. It's just that the minds are warped. You with me?
I'm with you. And this is a good place to take a quick break because the conversation is getting very interesting and I sense your passion for this. We're speaking with Mr. Anthony James, an activist for Tobago affairs and things that happen in and around Tobago and affect Tobago. And we're talking about constitutional reform and his idea, his perspective on what it should look like and how it should impact Tobago. So ladies and gentlemen, we're asking that you stay with us as we continue this conversation. And while you stay, of course, invite your friends and share the live. Share the live, share the live. We'll be right back.
The energy fill the skies. I say thanks for favor.
Deltec Distributors Weekend Special Wings Friday. 3 pounds wings, 2.5 kilogram fries. Special 100 TT. Soup Saturday. 2 pounds cube beef, 2 pounds cow heel, 2 pounds chicken foot, 2 pounds pigtail, or smoked bone. Special $150. Super Sunday. 3 pounds leg and thigh chicken, 3 pounds sliced pork, 3 pounds lamb slice, 3 pounds cheese, 2 pack of pasta. Special $250. Located Main Road, Argyle, Tobago. We deliver 20 TT. Contact us on deltecdistributors.com 395-5040 or 237-0102. Deltec Distributors Weekend Special.
Tobago Glass Supplies has been a leading name for over 37 years in the glass and aluminum market in Tobago. We provide an extensive range of high-quality, innovative aluminum and glass products for commercial and residential use. Competitive prices with superior and professional services by committed employees who are guided by rigid quality standards. Tobago Glass Supplies specializes in the manufacture and installation of glass and aluminum products that are essential to today's homeowners and the business environment. We are engaged in marketing, sales, and installation of a variety of products. These ranges from windows and doors to necessities such as mirrors for homes and vehicles, designed and manufactured in-house or imported.
You can now get whatever you need whenever you need it anywhere in Tobago with Tobago. Your meals, medication, groceries, and shopping all delivered directly to you. No more hassle, no more stress. Get the Tobago app today on Google Play or Apple App Store.
That's TAPPOGO and let us deliver to you.
Check our website at www.tapogo.app or call the experts at 494-TOGO and 484-4746. Tobago. Relax. We will get it to you. Tobago's at your service.
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago here on Tobago Updates Television. I am Adana Kambi and we continue conversations this morning in studio with Mr. Anthony James, Tobago activist, as we have conversations as it relates to constitutional reform and what it means for the Tobago space. And of course, the conversation got very passionate before we went to our break, and so we want to continue where we left off before we went to our break.
So that, and thanks for having me.
Of course.
You know, so that we are now hearing that advisory committee on constitutional reform has been set up, and of course is going to spark interest in Tobago, because Trinidadians are not really so much interested in that because it doesn't really affect them. They're already free, you see. So Tobagonians are more interested in constitutional reform and hoping that something great, something just and fair can come out of it. And I would say, let me hasten to say, that we are now hearing that, right? It just pop up again. God is in charge of this. And it is God who has done that. The men who are doing it now in Trinidad, whose heart God would have put it into, and it's God who put it into their heart, because he has his own plan. Their intention is not to bless Tobago. Their intention is not to construct a free Tobago. And it is not their responsibility either. The responsibility to construct a free Tobago is firstly God's, and secondarily, Tobagonians. That is our responsibility. And if we don't construct it, then it is not self-government.
Earlier in the conversation, you spoke about the resources that Tobago has, a wealth of resources that reside right here in Tobago, and the fact that Trinidad has benefited from the resources. Some would argue that Tobago has also benefited from resources in Trinidad. What is your position on that, and how would you measure in terms of who really benefited more here, and the fact that, as you're saying, that Trinidad does not want to let Tobago go?
Well, it is clear in all the arguments, and even what has gone into the bill, and the arguments, and when Tobagonians appear before the Joint Select Committee, I just forgot something. I was to work with the Constitution, I was to work with the I was planning to work with the Constitution, because the Constitution that they are planning is already finishing. That committee going around is all rubber talk and so on, Mr. Manning, back preceding the election of 2010, that the UNC dominated People's Partnership won 29-12, as the case may be. Mr. Manning had already prepared the Constitution, and it's a Trinidad Constitution. And the only thing written in that Constitution concerning Tobago is to be prescribed. To be prescribed. But Trinidad is already finished with the structure. I'm quite confident in my mind that what is going on with Dr. Rory right now, but God is playing with him. What is going on with him now is that what Mr. Manning wanted to achieve. Mr. Manning wanted to achieve becoming the first executive president, because people want to do away with the ceremonial, what they call the ceremonial president, right? So that Mr. Manning was going to go to bed tonight as prime minister and going to wake up tomorrow as president, and that is what is going on there. The other key element of the constitutional reform is to bring the local government, the 14 local government bodies in Trinidad, up to the level of the Tobago House of Assembly. If that happens, and Tobago remains in the position it is, in the form, being a ward of Trinidad, well, Tobago has sunk even further down, because there's one electorate in Trinidad, the electorate that is going to vote in the local government. I want people to focus here. The electorate that is going to vote in the local government bodies in Trinidad is the same electorate that is going to vote in their national government. Not us, it's theirs. It's their national government. So if the local government bodies and the Tobago House Assembly are on the same level, now when those 15 now, because I'm calling Tobago, I'm likening Tobago to that, 15 local government bodies now, when they prevail upon the national government is more likely to attend to the needs of those in Trinidad, because the electorate that voted in the local is the same that voted in the national. And what it means, therefore, that electorate has more power. So the electorate that can remove...
You're viewing Tobago Updates Television, your exclusive gateway to Tobago, broadcasting the beauty of this island paradise to the world.
Like minds in this space, and as often to speaking to clear away all the webs, all the cobwebs of ignorance and so on. You don't really have that. But that is what they have planned. But I'm saying God is involved in all of this. No flesh really can free Tobago. It is God, and I really want to say it because I really want to give him all the glory, because I'm telling you, he's the captain and bishop of our destiny, of our souls, and of our destiny. It is he. I'll tell you this. When I started in 1998, these ideas just came into me. Well, since I was going to school, I used to play cricket and football, or more cricket than football. I played football. I learned football when I was big, but I was a natural cricketer. Grew up with that. And nobody here could make it. Nobody here can make it. What do we have to show? You see this man there? But he was real good, boy. You see that fella? He was real good. But we have nothing to show. Trinidad, you could see Brian Lab, Augustine Logue. There are people to call on, Larry Gomes, as the case may be. There are people. Dwight York went through severe discrimination in Trinidad back in 1989 down there, playing for them down there. The best footballer was November the 19th, 1989, was Dwight York. And customarily, Gally Cummings, the coach, took him off. Every game he's coming off around the 65th, 67th minute. It is bound to break you. You know that you're coming off. You just go on back. Because you're half time, you just went on back. But the change he's going to make, Dwight York comes off. But on that particular day when they were trying to qualify for the World Cup, you had Dwight York and Brian Williams on the right. And they were the best two players for those who live long like me and following it, who understood. Dwight York was already the best footballer in the Caribbean and in CONCACAF. But they didn't see that at all. It's a whole, and when you give people power over what you think they're going to do, you deal with human nature here. But let me get back to the point. So we know it's discrimination. So that I started talking about constitutional reform. Well, we all know it was 34-2 then. Who wins Trinidad, therefore, controls Tobago. And Trinidad controls every cent. I'm talking about money here. Let me tell you this. Every public and private cent that circulates, generates in Trinidad and Tobago is controlled by that system. Every single cent or dollar belongs to them. Trust me on that day. That belongs to them by the virtue of the structure. It's 34-2. So there's no democracy in the relationship between Tobago and Trinidad. In fact, the history says that Tobago's a ward. If you have a ward, how do you have democracy? Those who control the ward, they have what they call democracy. But the people in the ward, you have no democracy. This is why they try to kill Robinson.
You know, they just recently constituted the committee to speak about this and the constitutional reform. And do you think that there is sufficient representation of Tobago on that committee?
Clearly not. Clearly not, but that's their mentality. They see Tobago as a minority, as an outsider. And when they do their population, they are not looking at how should I put that? The need, They are not looking at the need of Tobago. Because they don't see our problem really. We are living in our bodies here. So we know our problem. They are not concerned about that. And in fact, they really can't in a sense because they can't come into our experience. They are not experiencing what we experience. And in their mind, with all the war propaganda over the years, they don't really see us as a people having our own national aspirations. They don't really see that, right? So I was saying, so back there in 1998, I started to prosecute the system. Then in 1999, I started to dream. And in one of those dreams, I dreamed tonight, then dreamed tomorrow night. That's what was going on with me there. One time one of the dreams I remember, because I was with Dr. Winston Murray, and Dr. Winston Murray is critical to what is going on. I learned a lot from him, trust me. I learned a lot from that gentleman. And so he had come back to, and so we we were prosecuting the issues and so on. And the idea came to me. He said, Tony boy, he said, I'm going to become a millionaire. So I started to buy books like Think and Grow Rich, Power of Positive Thinking, and all these kinds of books. You know? So I started forgetting them fellas. I couldn't become a millionaire.
That's right.
And that night, that same time day, when I go to bed, I was driving my car from Zanil in Belgarden there. And I was driving my car around to Bad Rock. I had a green Mazda at the time. And the car went going over the hill. And I turned back the car, for heaven's sake, the car won't turn back at all. The car went over the hill and then turned up back. The following night, I dreamed the Red House. And was in 2000 before the general election, because I was by that time I started a move that there should be no election, and I wrote Mr. Basil Pandey was the Prime Minister. I copied the letter to Mr. Manning, who was the opposition leader, and to A.N.R. Robinson, who was the president, and I told them that there should be no election because the Constitution is supervising the destruction of Tobago. Let me repeat that. The Constitution in Trinidad and Tobago is supervising the destruction of Tobago. And I went into all the different reasons and so on. And I told Mr. Pandey to meet with Robinson and Manning and to set up a caretaker government to deal with the issue of constitutional reform. He didn't take me on. The election bell rang. I remember I was by a house in Singer Hill. So 2 o'clock, Pandey held the press conference and announced the election, and he forget what I told him. The following night, God gave me a dream and told me all the things that will unfold in Trinidad and Tobago. And this was the dream. I gave you the key points of the dream. PNM win the election in Trinidad by 1 seat. That came down in a mystery. With the solution, the real revelation, when it come down, the UNC won 19 and the PNM had 16, and the NAR hold on to the Tobago East seat with Nathaniel Moore, who we call Bonate. And then now you had the issue of the false declarations by Gypsy and Chitan. PNM really win the election in Trinidad. And I wondered for years why God said Trinidad. He didn't say Trinidad and Tobago. I want people to understand this here. God is seeing the state here as Trinidad. Tobago is just simply a word inside of that. And it's only geography why our name is being mentioned. But this state, for all intents and purposes, is a Trinidad state. So the election really ended up 1817-1. Because that's in the spirit there where God knows the truth. Because by the rules, Gypsy and Chitan of the UNC filed false declarations. So the PNM really won the election 1871. And then the next blow, the dream says, Robinson informed Pandey that he cannot be Prime Minister again. That happened. And I even went and told Mr. Robinson before, because I met with him twice. And the last part of the dream says, there was constitutional reform. And that is what is playing out here. And it's a constitutional reform to bless Tobago. God is the one who started the process, and he's the one who's going to finish the process. And I'm telling you the reform that we need, because the form must change. Tobago must move from bondage to freedom, from lack of sovereignty to sovereignty. God is dealing with this. God has placed all the resources that we need. And in this world, all the resources for that, and God has his own will and purpose. We don't know exactly what it is. And so that God will deliver Tobago, and the relationship will be a confederal one. It's the only one that could happen. Where Tobago is a state, Trinidad is a state. There's no central government between Tobago and Trinidad. We don't need it. It exists in the Caribbean countries right now, in the OECS, where you have several states there. Each has its own prime minister, head of state. They are playing their sports by themselves, and their people are thriving. Tobago and Trinidad cannot hold into the same state cannot hold into the same constitution. Trinidad has 1.4 million people. We have a few thousands. We are going to be dwarfed. We are going to be discriminated. It can't work. I've thought of these things years ago. I've thought them out. It can't. We and Tobago and Trinidad cannot exist in the same house. The things, responsibilities that we own together, we set up committees, mutual committees to deal with mutual responsibilities. But you determine the priorities, we determine yours. We share the same currency, as the case may be. But you are free, and I am free. It cannot be constructed no other way.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're speaking with Mr. Anthony James, activist for Tobago issues and Tobago affairs, and we're talking about constitutional reform. Interesting conversations there about some dreams that he is saying is now rolling out here, and we're going to continue the conversation. I'm asking that you stay with us because the conversation is going to get even more interesting before we wrap this morning. And as you stay with us, we invite you to share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back.
Tipsy presents Sip and Paint, an expression of a mother's love. Join us at the Tropicist Beach Hotel, Sunday, May 12th from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. Guests are entitled to finger foods and wine. Full package painter tickets only $600. And if you just want to hang out, we've got you. Limers pay $450. You'll be entertained by a special sensational reggae artist, a live band, and come witness our bonfire. We've got loads of giveaways. We're catering to mom all evening. Sunday, May 12th, 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. Tropicist Beach Hotel. Come, sip and paint with Tipsy.
She ride the wave, come jump in the range, 100 funny, that's much your money mean. Don't need your love, that I cost me fi pay. Like King Solomon, a bag a girl to me name. Every girl broke out, Lord, broke out. Me say hot girl, understand your time fi step out. Big bumper girl, your time fi get strap out. Hand on your knee, you treat a girl and your D. And every girl I get wild out tonight. Party in my out tonight. If she suck me a fine out tonight. I don't know what a wild out tonight. Out the blue light, fi a try out the back.
Need a fresh start? Upgrade your life with the things you want. At Standard Distributors in Canaan, life is good with zero. Get that amazing fridge, the stylish sofa with zero down and easy financing. Your dream house is within reach. Visit Standard Distributors today. Life is good with zero.
TWCU Credit Union Cooperative Society Limited notifies all members of its 74th Annual General Meeting at the Center of Excellence Tunapuna and Shore Park Complex, Tobago on Saturday, 11th May 2024, commencing at 1 p.m. Items on the agenda include minutes of the 73rd AGM, Board of Directors and other committee reports, election of officers, presentation of audited accounts 2023, recommendations, dividends 2023, and resolutions, budget proposal 2024, amendments to bylaws. Registration for the meeting can be done online via the Society's website at www.twcu.co.tt. Their main office at number 31 Pembroke Street, Port of Spain, Trinidad, or their Tobago unit at Port Mall Shopping Center, Scarborough, Tobago. Deadline for registration is Wednesday, 1st May 2024 at 3 p.m. In order to safeguard the health and safety of all persons in attendance, COVID-19 protocol measures will be observed. For further information, please contact the Society at 623-4444. TWCU Credit Union Cooperative Society Limited. Our credit union, one family.
It's a brand new morning, rise up to a brand new dawning. As the passion start to rise, the energy filled us.
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago. I am Adana Crombie, and we continue conversations, yes, with Mr. Anthony James, Tobago activist. We're talking constitutional reform, and when we took our break, we were talking about having mutual committees to discuss things as it relates to Trinidad and Tobago, and the fact that we will separate you. I respond to the things that are affecting the Tobago space, and Trinidad deal with the things that is affecting the Trinidad space. We remain carrying the same currency, and I'm trying to, in my mind, yes, I'm trying to figure out what do you mean by this and how is this going to work?
Right, but it's nothing new, because in the European Union, that is what it operates in the European Union, right? So we know that Britain pulled out, and they never gave up the pound. That's a power thing with them. But France, Spain, Belgium, Italy, all those are Schengen countries, as they call them. They use a Schengen passport, right? So that they all play the sports. They all have they play the sport separately, independently of each other. They have their own, states and governments, and so on. And they're operating. They're working beautifully, but they come together for mutual interests.
But the thing about it is that they are all different countries. Yes, they're under one union, but they are different countries.
Definitely.
But Trinidad and Tobago is...
not one country. Tobago was made a war. Okay. Tobago did not cease being a country in 1889. Tobago did not cease being a country, because what's really the definition of a country? A country is not necessarily a state. And a nation is not necessarily a state. You feel what I'm saying? A nation really is a family of people. Right? So that so you have that going on there, but they share the same currency, the euro dollar. But they're all making their own rules internally in their own country with their own head of state. And Europe is not a state. But Europe has one currency. Yeah? So it's nothing new. So we're not reinventing anything. Of course, we can put our own, idiosyncrasies, our own thoughts, our own peculiarities into what we need here. In the OECS countries, right here in the Caribbean, you have the EC dollar, which is stronger than the dollar of Trinidad.
Correct.
Right? And they operate, so they have the same system going on. So they all poured money into Liat. I don't know where Liat is going now. But that's the airline. But they are coming together for mutual interest. There's nothing wrong. That's how the world was intended to run. And when Jesus Christ returns, which is not too long again, to run the world, that is how the world will be run. It will be a confederation. Under him, of course. But no nation, every vine, the scripture says, shall sit on his own fig tree, I can't remember the exact wording itself. But every top must sit on his own bottom. Trinidad was not appointed to ruin the lives of Tobago. They can't even run their own country down there. It is overridden with crime. And that's the culture now. And it is seeping into Tobago, yeah. And I desperately want to see Tobago come back to a culture of cleanliness. And I say that meaning to say corruption must be eradicated from all institutions of Tobago. We ought not to be copying the institutions of Trinidad. That was going on is that when the scripture say the world has been drunk by the wrath of the fornication of Babylon, mystery Babylon, which is America. It has drunken the whole and forcing people into Satanism, of transgenderism and all kind of nonsense. And the world has drunk from the wine, the wrath of the wine of their fornication. And we must not drink from the wine of Trinidad fornication.
Mr. James, we're talking here now about Tobago becoming sovereign. And the things that will happen and that we will enjoy when we become sovereign. What is the first step that we have to take to get there?
That's an excellent point, excellent question, really. Because, as we say, the Constitution Advisory Committee now They can't reform this. They are under instruction, and it's not their responsibility. It is all they said they have to report to the government, and the government in Trinidad is deciding. I'm telling you this. And what is going to happen in Tobago, they're going to tweet the Tobago House of Assembly, because the advisory committee it is not within their purview to alter and reshape Trinidad and Tobago, to see that there is equity between Tobago and Trinidad. They are just collecting views. As I said, the Constitution has already been written. And that is what they're going to do. Tobago can only go as far as the government in Tobago needs to be. I want us to understand that. There is no nation on the face of the earth that has ever arrived at freedom without the government, without their own government, leading them there. I want us to understand this. We have to go home. This is perhaps the most salient point I'm going to make this morning here. Tobago cannot arrive at a particular status except the government, the leadership in Tobago leads Tobago to that point. But God is going to deal with that. Because you see, it has to be government to government. That's how it was. Europeans and them, they went to all those Caribbean governments who had their premiers and so on. They went to England. This is government to government talk. Trinidad sees you or sees us as a ward, and they're going to reform with us as a ward. But all this is going to happen before the general election planned in Trinidad for 2025. But before that, there must be constitutional reform. And in the reform, as I've already explained what the form would be, Tobago will no longer be participating in the Trinidad elections, which is a waste of time. Sending 2 representatives going down in Trinidad, losing more for resources again, and wasting time. They can't represent you really, because they are subordinate to the interests in Trinidad. If what I'm saying down there, it's pointless, it's useless. So we're going to have our own general elections. They have their own general elections. And we enter into a new dispensation. All this is happening before the next scheduled general election. So we better wake up here in Tobago, smell the coffee, because God is on the move now. He has whether we're ready or not, this is where He's taking us.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've been having conversations with Mr. Anthony James this morning, Tobago activist, talking about constitutional reform, raising some very interesting and salient points this morning as we move towards what he says that Tobago needs to be sovereign and separate from Trinidad, managing the affairs of Tobago and maximizing from the benefits of the resources that reside here in Tobago. It's unfortunate we don't have any more time to continue this conversation. Maybe, perhaps, I don't know, we can have, a part 2 of this conversation as we get more information, get more into the history and into where your mind is in terms of how do we get into that place, talking about the government of Tobago having to lead us into that place of sovereignty. So we thank you so much for being on the show this morning and for bringing that information to us, a very engaging conversation, information coming to light here today. And we thank you so much, viewers, for staying with us and even for the comments that you've been bringing on the live. We thank you so much, and we do hope to see you again as we continue programming each and every weekday. Thank you very much, and do have a great day.
It's a brand new morning, rise up to a brand new dawning. As the passion start to rise, the energy fill the skies. I say thanks for favor to wake up and hear my neighbor. 60,000 people strong.
You're viewing Tobago Updates Television, your exclusive gateway to Tobago, broadcasting the beauty of this island paradise to the world.